All right, y'all, sit down, lie down, squat down, but I'm back. Belle Tellz. So today I'm going to show you how I make my spaghetti carbonara. First, you're going to need, obviously, spaghetti noodles. I use 4 eggs. Prosciutto, I use 4 ounces. I also have like a little bit of bacon in there because I like the flavor of the bacon in it. And then 5.5 ounces of the Parmesan cheese. All right, so I'm going to first start by boiling the pasta water. So we got to get that boiling first. All right, so while I'm waiting for that to boil, I am going to add these little bit of, I just like to add just the tail end of the bacon. I don't know, probably out of a pound of bacon. I just cut off the ends. And so I like to use that in my spaghetti carbonara because I like the flavor it gives. So I'm going to start frying that up. So while that's frying up, I'm going to add the prosciutto to the bacon and cook that with it. And I'll show you, I'm just going to go down and cut it this way. So I'm taking the prosciutto, okay, and then I'm going to cut it in half. So I've cut it in half, and then I'm going to stack it on top of each other. And you also want to make sure your fire is on low. And so I'm going to stack it on top, one on top of each other. And now I'm just going to start cutting it this way. So that's kind of what it looks like, and now I'm just going to add it to the frying pan and finish up the rest. So when it starts to look like that, I turn the fire off and wait for the pasta to get done cooking. All right, so let's head back over to the eggs. I'm going to start cracking each one of these eggs, put them in the bowl. So this is where you add your seasoning. So, and I forgot to mention that in the beginning. So I'm going to add the garlic powder with the eggs and pepper. You don't need any salt because there is enough in the cheese, there's enough sodium in that. Plus along with the bacon and the prosciutto. All right, so I'm going to start beating these eggs. All right, so we got the eggs beat. And I think I'm going to add one more egg. So I'd say have 5 eggs instead of 4. So I'm going to add garlic powder, basically just to taste. However, how much you want is what I add. And same thing with the pepper. All right, so I've added the seasoning, and now I'm going to add the 5 ounces, yes, the 5 ounces of the Parmesan cheese. Now we're going to give that a bit of a stir. All right, so I've got that stirred in. So next we're going to add salt to the boiling water, and we're going to add the pasta. So I'm going to take a cup of the boiling pasta water, and I'm going to let it set for 2 minutes before I add it to the egg mixture. All right, so let's turn this back on. All right, so now I'm going to add the pasta water to the egg mixture. Now when you do this, you add just a little bit, and you keep stirring it, add a little more, stir, because you don't want the eggs to scramble. You want to stir this until it's kind of creamy. So I've got a little bit more to go. Which brings us back to the bacon and prosciutto. So I'm going to add the remaining amount of water, and I'm going to add a little bit more of that pasta water to this. So that's about what you want on that before you start adding the pasta. Because you're going to add the pasta in this and stir it for a little bit. You'll turn it back off. And then we'll add the egg mixture because you got to have it off for a few minutes. Actually, I think I'm just going to turn mine on really low. I think I'll be okay if we just turn it really low. All right, so I've got that pretty low. And once I start adding the pasta, you got to keep stirring it. And then when you add the egg mixture, you really got to keep stirring. It's time. Let's add the pasta, little at a time. So I've got that. So now I'm going to stir it in. And we're going to add a little bit more pasta. All right, so here is that pasta. We're stirring it in. What I'm about to do is turn my fire completely off right before I add the egg mixture. All right, so I've gotten all the pasta transferred over to this pan, and I'm going to stir it some more. Now that the pasta has absorbed some of that bacon and the prosciutto flavor, I'm going to start adding the egg mixture. And at this point, I have to really keep stirring, so hopefully I can squeeze in a second to show you all. Okay, so I'm going to pour it in at this point. Ooh. All right, now I need to stir. I'm going to start stirring right now. And the white stuff that you're seeing is that Parmesan cheese that hasn't melted yet, but it is, as you can see, starting to melt into the pasta. And if you can see at the edge of the pan how it's starting to look real creamy, that's when it's just about done. When it starts having a cream texture. That means the cheese has melted and the eggs have mixed very well in the pasta. And that's just kind of how it should look right before you get ready to serve. In the meantime, you keep stirring. I got to keep flipping this. All right, y'all, so that is it. It is now ready to be served. Please and thank yous are a must. A smile never hurt no one. Be cognizant of the things you say and how you say them, because kindness is priceless. All right, y'all, have a good week.